2 on your side breaking news now.
And that breaking news tonight, a potential breakthrough in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Officials say that a man has now been detained for questioning in connection to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
This comes after the FBI released video of a masked person carrying a gun and tampering with her security camera the night she was taken. However, it is not clear if the man detained by law enforcement tonight is the same person who was seen in that security video. The man who is being questioned was detained hours after the FBI shared the video. Today, 2 on your side spoke with a former Buffalo FBI agent who says the video makes him skeptical.
The person in the video didn't seem to be so well prepared. You know, most times you go through some painstaking processes to make sure that you've got everything in order, but it almost appears that he was surprised by the camera. And I'm sure that I would imagine that they'd done some either surveillance, trial runs, or something that would give them a little more knowledge. But to be surprised by a camera, especially in today's environment where everybody has cameras, it's one thing you want to know: who might capture me on film? So, that was surprising.
Well, meanwhile, the FBI has just set up this webpage that includes surveillance images, reward information, and Guthrie's physical description.
And in some other news tonight, the New York State Attorney General is set to make a new public safety announcement here in Buffalo. It's going to be in connection to the May 14th mass shooting at Tops on Jefferson Avenue.
Now, this announcement will come just days after unrelated reports of gunshots fired in the area of the Tops on Jefferson. According to Buffalo police, officers received calls on Saturday that several people riding in different vehicles shot at each other in the Tops parking lot. Police have since impounded 3 vehicles and interviewed several subjects. No one has been arrested yet, and the investigation is still ongoing.
Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Tops is providing more information about this situation, telling 2 on your side in part, quote, an altercation that began away from our property eventually spilled over into the Tops parking lot at 1275 Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo. During the dispute, a firearm was discharged. No one was injured, and all individuals involved fled the scene before police arrived, end quote. Tops also says that it has requested even more police patrols in the area surrounding the store.
Again, New York Attorney General Letitia James will make a public announcement tomorrow about the May 14th, 2022 racially motivated mass shooting at Tops. You can watch the full announcement plus additional 2 on your side coverage on WGRZ+ starting at 3 in the afternoon, streaming live and free. Also, some big news out of Washington today as Congressman Tim Kennedy's office announced that the Federal Transit Administration has given the green light for the proposed Metro Rail expansion to the UB North campus. And the NFTA announced that they plan to move forward with the light rail option instead of a bus rapid transit system. 2 on your side's Nate Benson is live at UB South Campus tonight, and he has the latest. Nate?
Yeah, good evening, Scott and Mary Alice. I'm just outside the University Station with the Metro line, and this has been a small but significant step in a process that's been decades in the making for those who support more light rail in Western New York.
It's exciting. You know, we've been working on this since the 1960s.
And before you say, hey, Nate, the Metro Rail was built in 1984, yes, I know, that's true. But light rail has been talked about since construction of the UB North campus began in 1968. Despite being a very car-centric region, transportation advocates have pushed for multiple light rail lines throughout Western New York.
We think that there's going to be a lot of development potential as well along the light rail to Amherst.
Now the 7+ mile expansion from UB South to UB North is one step closer to happening. The expansion will cost north of $2 billion, and Congressman Tim Kennedy announced Tuesday that the Federal Transit Administration has given its blessing and approved the environmental impact statement. Apparently, no loons will be impacted by the project.
It's finally happening, and the exciting part too is that the NFTA actually has funding to do the next step, which is the engineering design. So we'll move ahead with that, and then that'll take a couple of years.
There were several options on the table for the NFTA, including do nothing, develop a bus rapid transit system, or light rail. In a press release, the NFTA said, quote, "The LRT extension will provide fast, reliable, and convenient transit service, offering a one-seat ride between UB's campuses and reducing traffic congestion by shifting automobile trips to transit." No NFTA officials were available Tuesday for an interview. However, Doug Funke from the advocacy group Citizens for Regional Transit was, and he always believed that light rail was the best option. The $2 billion price tag, he says, is worth it.
I mean, everything costs a lot more money now, and that we've known that was sort of the number for quite a while, and it could even go up from there. But that's the cost, and I think it's reasonable. I mean, that's what it costs for any project of this size nowadays.
Which, if we're keeping tabs, it's all taxpayer money at the end of the day. Now, as for what happens next, the NFTA will begin a formal design process which should take at least a year to complete. The federal government, the Federal Transit Administration, will need to approve that as well, and construction is still several years out once this is all approved. Live and on your side in Buffalo, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Nate. Now let's get a quick check on the evening's weather forecast. For the first time in almost 3 full weeks, Western New York warmed up above freezing.
There is still some winter weather that Storm Team 2 is expecting to see tomorrow. Meteorologist Dan Russell has more on that. Hello, Dan.
Oh, yeah. We climbed well above freezing. In fact, we ended up in the 40s. Some spots even made a run at 50 this afternoon. But then we had a weak little cool front that dropped in this evening. So we had some of those light rain showers. That front is now long gone. And for the most part, quiet conditions, just picking up cloudy skies. And that's helping to keep temperatures in check. Now, as we look off to our north, there's a little piece of energy here that's dropping into the upper Great Lakes. This will arrive here later tomorrow, and with it, we're going to get into a little round of some of these snow showers, especially inland areas and areas north and east of Buffalo. So in the meantime, for tonight, we'll just continue to find cloudy skies. Temperatures right now are still in the low to mid 30s, but as we go through the next few hours, temperatures will continue to drop a degree or two here and there, and by morning, most spots will be sitting there with temperatures mid to upper 20s. No issues for the morning bus stop or the morning drive. Might even squeeze in a few peaks of sunshine there around midday. Temperatures, though, tomorrow will be chillier with a daytime high around 30, and again, especially towards late evening, that's where we are expecting that round of some snow showers. Not a lot, but it will be enough to coat up the ground. I'll let you know exactly how much you could expect with the extended forecast in just a bit. Scott Merriles.
Thank you very much, Dan. Well, tonight over in Orleans County, an agreement has been approved between the Albion and Medina school districts to merge the district's football programs. Now, we first told you back in January about the plan to create a combined football program called the Orleans County Rivals. District leaders have said declining enrollment and a low number of students playing football have diminished the quality of both schools' programs. The Medina Central School District's athletic director explained some of the changes that this merger will bring.
So we're going to split all the games in half. So we now are going to have modified JV and varsity levels. So we'll split the games in half here, half there, and then we'll alternate week to week our practices where we're practicing. It might depend on where we're playing the game that week. Where we practice, but essentially we'll likely have the modifieds in one location, JV varsity in the other, and then flip-flop. There'll be a bus back and forth every day. So luckily it's only about 10 miles away, so it's not major time commitment, but it's still going to add a lot to players and coaches' day and parents, waiting around a little bit longer than usual.
And according to public records, the shared football program will begin effective at the beginning of July this year.
The 2026 New York State gubernatorial election is shifting. Incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul will now likely run unopposed in the Democratic primary after her second-in-command dropped out of the race. New York Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado has decided to end his campaign for governor. Hochul already has the backing of New York's congressional delegation, major labor unions, and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. That all became too big of a hurdle for Delgado to overcome. Meanwhile, Republican candidate and Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman announced Madison County Sheriff Todd Hood as his choice for a lieutenant governor in the GOP primary. Two on Your Side spoke with political analysts about where the race goes from here.
The governor has a remarkable advantage just in enrollment. The state as it stands is about 65-35. She did underperform in her first proper election, but I think we can expect to see that the margins of this race will be much wider than the 5 or 6%, which she beat her previous challenger Lee Zeldin with.
The problem for him, and this is going to be his first mission, is nobody knows him. 62% of New Yorkers have no idea who he is. So he needs to do a couple of things. He needs, at the same time, he needs to raise money quickly and then use that money to introduce himself to the public in a major way. Can he do those two things? It remains to be seen.
Well, the latest Siena poll shows 54% of New York voters would vote for Hochul if the election were held right now, opposed to 28% for Blakeman.
Well, a former New York State corrections officer is going to spend the next 30 years behind bars for production of child pornography. 43-year-old Michael Regan of Amherst worked as a New York State corrections officer from 2007 until the FBI arrested him in 2020. During that time, he used social media to send sexual messages to a 13-year-old girl, soliciting her to send him sexual photos and videos. Regan then committed statutory rape with the victim and threatened her not to tell anyone about it. Regan was also convicted of taking sexual pictures of an infant with his cell phone. In addition to 30 years behind bars, Regan will face lifetime supervised release and must register as a sex offender.
Crime Stoppers Western New York is posting cash rewards in relation to 2 separate homicide cases in the city of Buffalo. First, a reward of $7,500 is being offered for information leading to the arrest of a suspect who killed a man named Aaron Ware. Officers found Ware's body during the morning of January 18th this year. Police believe Ware was shot to death. Crime Stoppers is offering another $7,500 in connection to a murder case from 2023. A man named Leonard Smith was killed on May 22nd that year on Delaware Avenue. If you know anything about either case, you can give a tip by calling the number on your screen or download the Crime Stoppers mobile app.
Coming up tonight at 11, spreading the love to our seniors.
See how our community is coming together to help make Valentine's Day extra special. That's still ahead on Channel 2 News tonight. Men's Olympic ice hockey competition starts tomorrow, and a new Netflix documentary is revisiting one of the sport's most iconic moments. Miracle, the Boys of '80 tells the story of the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team's unlikely road to gold, and it's directed by Buffalo native Max Gershberg.
Probably where I first kind of fell in love with this story, the story of 1980. I grew up playing Bison's hockey at the old Nichols rink. And me and all my friends, we all were hockey obsessed and, watched the old Miracle motion picture on the way to hockey tournaments like kids did. For a long time, this has been a favorite story of mine. So the opportunity to take it on and kind of put a fresh twist on it was really like a dream project.
Gershberg attended Elmwood Franklin and City Honors before leaving Western New York prior to high school. He has gone on to win 9 Emmys for sports journalism and documentaries.
Well, right now there is a heartfelt initiative underway in East Amherst.
And it's making sure that seniors feel a little extra love this Valentine's Day. 2 on Your Side's Courtney Courtwright shares the impact of a small gesture.
In this room,
There.
love isn't just felt.
Every single day I do feel the love.
It's written.
Love goes into each one of these things that we're doing here today.
Not just the words.
So I could spread joy to seniors.
But in the details. Carefully put on to paper and decorated.
Some people are lonely and they feel sad, so they need cards to cheer themselves up.
Senior helpers are hoping to collect 500 sweet messages for seniors for Valentine's Day.
It's just something so little that we can do to help them feel included, remembered, and that they matter.
A simple gesture that's making an impact.
Isolation can have mental and physical health effects on seniors, and our caregivers at Senior Helpers are trying to combat that all year round.
I've been isolated for so long and lonely, but here today, That's all gone.
The hope is that feeling will be carried when they deliver to local memory care facilities, independent living communities, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes.
We really like to make cards and bring a little extra joy to those seniors that might be isolated or might not have anybody around to be able to deliver cards and joy.
Simple cards, connecting many hearts.
I just feel so great.
This Valentine's Day. On your side, Courtney Courtwright, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Courtney. And the Alzheimer's Association is now hosting a special conference for Buffalo's African American community later this month. It's called Empowering Black and Brown Communities, a brain health conference. And it's going to focus on the unique challenges people of color face with Alzheimer's and dementia. This event includes guest speakers, healthy cooking and yoga demos, even a free caregiver resource fair. The conference is happening on February 28th, both in person at the Buffalo Federation of Neighborhood Centers and, of course, online via Zoom. Registration is required.
Well, Western New York's favorite pre-Lenten tradition will now help support children with cancer. TOPS has partnered with the Punt Pediatric Cancer Collaborative to launch a limited-time sponge candy flavored punchki known as the Punchki. Get it? Proceeds from each purchase help Punt provide financial assistance, emotional support, and critical resources to families navigating pediatric cancer in Western New York. It sounds like a delicious initiative.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a lot of calories to me is what it sounds like, too.
But it's for an excellent cause, so
Yes.
we can be all in on that.
We could do that. You know what? Today felt great. I know we hit the 40s, and it's amazing how your body reacts to a 40-degree temperature.
I know, it was strange. I mean, I got a little nervous. I was out there shoveling without a coat, and I'm like, I just hit a new plateau, but alas, it was close to 50 degrees, Dan.
The 40s are the new 60s, if you will. At least that's what it felt like. Well, hopefully the 20s that we'll see the next couple of days will maybe feel like 40s. Given the weather we have seen, I wouldn't be surprised. So tomorrow we do take a little bit of a step back when it comes to our temperature. Daytime high temperature around 30. Again, it is chillier compared to what we saw today, but it's also a lot closer to where we should be for this time of year. The average high is still only in the low 30s. It is February after all. Now, Thursday, that's kind of the chilly day where we'll have temperatures in the 20s. There's going to be a brisk breeze adding an extra chill, but again, nothing even close to what we have been dealing with. Friday, we're right back into the 30s, and then look at the weekend. Finally, we're going to have a weekend. You're going to be able to get outside and enjoy winter activities and not have to worry about absolutely frigid conditions. And even after that, as we take a look at next week, and I know next week is February break, the kids are off, and yeah, look at the signs of unseasonably warm conditions. This is 6 to 10 days out, so this is pretty much all of next week. We're likely looking at above average temperatures. The only possible blemish towards the end of next week could see some changes, but of course, a lot of time between now and then. In the meantime, we still got to get you through this week, and here is Future Look. Tonight, all quiet. We're picking up cloudy skies. That's going to keep temperatures in check, so really not dropping a whole lot more as we head towards morning. Here we are around 7 a.m., and we'll start out today with temperatures mid to even a few spots upper 20s. Remember, we should be starting out with temperatures in the teens. So again, really nothing terribly cold outside of a couple of scattered snow showers, especially into the hills of ski country. No issues for the morning bus stop or as you're heading off to work, and even throughout the day. No real issues. We might even squeeze in a few peaks of sunshine, especially during the middle of the day. But it is around 4 o'clock thereafter. This is when I do expect snow showers to pick up. Nothing too heavy in and around the Buffalo Metro, but north and east of Buffalo, especially on that Lockport to Batavia line and also into ski country. We are expecting some streamers to be rolling in off of Lake Ontario and even some kind of orographic lift from Lake Erie, where we'll have some snow showers into ski country. This is around 8:30, and I think this is when snow showers will pick up. We're actually going to have a window here where it is going to get a bit wintry for some of these areas, especially again north and east of Buffalo and into ski country, where we are going to see a couple of inches of accumulation. Now, by the time you wake up on Thursday, even that activity will fizzle to just a couple of flurries there along the Chautauqua Ridge, and even that will taper off to nothing more than some peaks of sunshine. Looking pretty quiet for your Thursday afternoon, and we'll hang on to, I think, overall quiet weather even as we head into Friday. Snowfall amounts for Buffalo, again, maybe 1 to 2, at most 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 4 inches closer to Batavia. And again, ski country, that's where we could see upper upwards of 3 to 6 inches. And again, that's from tomorrow through the first half of Thursday. So again, tomorrow's going to be a blustery, chilly day. Scattered snow showers, especially late and inland. And then just some leftover flurries by the time we get into your Thursday. Temperatures, though, briefly in the 20s. The reason why it's briefly, because Friday we're back into the 30s, and those 30s stick around, even more 40s likely as we head towards next week, especially around Tuesday of next week. Now it's time for League of Sports with John Scott.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Canisius and St. Joe's going down to the buzzer. Some absolutely awesome high school hoops action next in sports.
This is the Two on Your Side Paddock Chevrolet Sports Desk.
Sabres off for the Olympic break and the NFL Combine a few weeks away still, so a perfect time to show some love to the local high school scene. Tonight, one of the very best rivalries in town, bringing us one of the best finishes with Canisius welcoming St. Joe's to their field house and both student sections out in full force. Canisius up 7 at halftime. Crusaders extending the lead in a big way. Pick and roll. Elijah Jones hammering it down with one hand. Team high 14 for Jones, who is fired up. Gary Alexander doing everything he can to bring Joe's back. Look at the block off the window at one end, and then there's a hustle the other way. Bucket and the foul. Alexander scoring 20 of his game-high 22 in the second half. It's just a one-point game. Canisius up with under a minute to go. J.J. Shanklin picking the pocket, going the other way, giving the visitors a one-point lead. 11 seconds to go. Just 3 seconds to go here. Canisius with the inbound. Jack Cullinan fighting, fading, and winning. The Blue Crew storming the court. Cullinan's buzzer beater giving Canisius the thrilling 54-53 win. Elsewhere tonight in the Monsignor Martin, Timon hosting Nichols. Heck of a first half for Trey Palfrey. Behind the back here, weaving past defenders in the paint. Nice roll off the glass. Nichols up 11 at this point. Tigers trying to keep pace. Marquise Harris going baseline. Nice little floater here. 2 of Harris's 7 on the evening. Back the other way we go, and more playmaking by Palfrey. Driving. What a dime here. Andrew Babak underneath. More from Nichols. Mitch Masiello scoring 12 of his own, but dishing here. Palfrey in the corner, and it's pure. 14 of his team high, 16 in the first half, and Nichols taking this one big in a big way. Over in Milan, the United States women's hockey team absolutely dominating the prelims. That capping off today with a 5-0 win over the rival and reigning gold medalist, Canada. The U.S. scoring 5 goals in all 4 games they've played so far. They've only allowed 1 single goal, and that coming all the way back in the opener. Next up, the quarterfinals Friday afternoon against host Italy. Men's hockey getting underway tomorrow. Rasmus Dahlin and Sweden playing host Italy at 3:10 in the afternoon. It's the start of his second Olympic Games for Dahlin, barely playing as a 17-year-old in Pyeongchang back in 2018. I sat down with the Sabres captain recently before heading off to Milan to discuss being an Olympian again. And you can catch our conversation tomorrow during Live at 5. And then we'll have my chat with Tage Thompson on being a first-timer on wearing red, white, and blue in the Olympics. That coming your way on Thursday. And that's Look at Sports. We'll be right back.
And finally tonight, research shows that Americans are expected to spend a record amount of money on Valentine's Day this year to spend $29 billion on gifts.
Wow, that breaks down to $200 per person.
What?
Yes.
Sure.
Candy remains the top Valentine's Day gift this year. Hopefully they don't spend it all on candy. Followed by flowers, cards, a date night out, and jewelry. Yes, please.
That's a wide range. No, I could see getting to $29 billion with that last one, jewelry.
$200.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
We're sorry, Mrs. Levin.
Don't worry about Mrs. Levis. She's fine. Thanks for joining us for Channel 2 News tonight. Our Olympic coverage continues coming up next.
And Melissa, Pete, and Patrick are back on the air at daybreak at 4:30. We'll see you tomorrow.